Hey everyone, Mike here and welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I actually have a Saturn Sky 2007 and this whole channel is talking about doing mods and repairs and maintenance and things like that. If you like what you see, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you see that little bell, go ahead and click that. That'll basically update you on any new videos that I come out with. If you're not new to the channel, then you know that I've been adding a couple of chassis parts from DDMWorks, one being the Venom brace, which I recently did, I think it was last week, and previously before that I did the backbone, which is runs down the center of the chassis, and then now I basically have the ProBeam, which goes across the cross member in the rear. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to install that, and I'll actually have all three of the components. And DDMWorks actually has a bundle that you can purchase with all three of them. All three of them will be installed and ready to go, and I have an autocross coming up next week, so hopefully it's going to be a very good thing to have on there. So let me go ahead and show you real quick what the cross beam looks like before I get it installed. Actually, I meant to say the ProBeam, the DDMWorks sells, and here it is. Here it actually goes across the cross member that's on the rear of the chassis. So it consists of this, pretty substantial piece of metal here, as you can see, and then they also have the brackets that come with it and all of the screws and bolts and washers and things like that. And then they also have the instructions that come with it as well. You can actually go on their website and download these if you want to see how to install it before you even make your purchase. So but anyway, this is what I'm going to be installing, and I already got the car is already jacked up and ready for me to slide underneath of it. Alright, just to let you know, this mod actually does require some drilling into that cross member. So if you're not comfortable with drilling into metal, I would suggest go ahead and get it done professionally instead. I've never drilled into metal. I've never drilled into my car, so I should probably get this professionally done, but what fun is that? And it's easier for me to do it and go ahead and make a video for you. So what I basically have here, I have a center punch I'm going to be using to kind of start the drilling. I got a, I forget what size this is, but let me see what size they recommended. A 8mm drill bit, and I have a smaller drill bit to kind of get it started before that. And obviously I got my drill, got my hammer for the center punch, and then there's two holes that we're going to need to mark. So I got my Sharpie here to mark as well. And then, as always, safety first, I got my safety glasses here too. So let me go slide under the car and show you the first hole that we are going to be drilling. Okay, so here I am under the car. Now the front of the car is that way, the rear car is that way. Here's the muffler, just to kind of give you a reference of where I'm at. And this is the cross member. Wait, here we go. This is the cross member that we're going to be drilling into. And according to the directions, it says there's a hole in the middle. Mine doesn't have a hole, it has this thing all plugged up into there. So I assume that I'm just going to go ahead and drill through that. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but anyway, but there's the cross member, and this is where the bracket's going to go, the ProBeam's going to go, and then you actually hang some brackets from these bolts here, and then they have the same on the other side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start drilling this hole out, get the bracket up there according to the directions, kind of hold it there, then you start working on these center brackets here, and then start marking for the other holes as well. So let me go ahead and set up the camera, hopefully I can get it to look right, and start drilling. So we'll see how that goes. Alright. Well, I was told by someone on Facebook that it's going to start snowing whenever you start drilling, and he wasn't kidding. So it must be filled with some sort of foam stuff in there. And now that I'm looking, this drill bit might not be long enough anyway, so, but actually that's a pretty big hole already. So let me go ahead and put this bigger one in. See if I can get it through the backside. That's going to be the tough part, is getting it through the backside on this particular hole, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, I got the hole drilled in there, and I'm going to go ahead, and they say to put the bracket up here, the ProBeam brace. I keep calling it a bracket, but the ProBeam brace, and then put the brackets on this side, and then the other side, and just to kind of hold everything in place, because there's two other holes that we need to drill to mount the ProBeam. So let me get that ProBeam and put it up here. Okay, so when you're looking at this ProBeam, actually there's a notch here, and then there's one on the other side, and with that notch actually goes, and when you look to put it up here, the notch actually goes towards the back of the membrane, but actually I got it upside down anyway, so it has to go like this. Yeah, okay, so let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, so it's going to go with the, you'll see the vertical parts coming down, and then if you could see the word DDMWorks they have stamped on there, then you got it the right way. So let me go ahead and kind of slide this in here. It takes a little fidgeting, but you'll get it. Wow. Of course, I have a bolt that's out of reach. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let me go ahead, put this up in the hole. And what's going to be really interesting is trying to get my hand around to put the bolt on the other side, which is going to be some work right there. I don't even know how I'm going to do that, actually. Alright, let me figure out how to do that, and then I'll explain it to you. Alright, things on paper always sound easier than they are in real life, and unfortunately I cannot reach my hand around the muffler and the sway bar to get the bolt on the top of this cross member to kind of attach this. So I think I'm going to do, I hate to do it, but I think I have to just go ahead and lower this side of the muffler to give my arm some room to get in there. And then I'll be able to kind of hold this ProBeam up there, because unfortunately I have to take it back off and then put it back on again. So yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right, I basically dropped the entire muffler down, which apparently that's what you have to do, but unfortunately it's going to be a much more difficult way of getting to the ProBeam now with the muffler sitting here, which is what I was trying to avoid. So hopefully I can kind of squeeze in between the tire and the tailpipe to get up under there to work on this. So I'm going to try to do that now. Alright, so once again, here's the hole. There's the hole that I drilled, and then I can certainly get up over top of it now, but it's a matter of this good old muffler right here being in the way of me. So I'm going to go ahead, try to put the camera down so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and go from there. Alright, so there we go. Okay, I got the bolt in, and also from the top. Not sure if you can see that or not, but now I'm going to go ahead and try to work on these brackets that go on these little hangers right here. So let me get the directions and see how to put those on. Alright, so it looks like, and hopefully you can hear me. Okay, I got to take off those two bolts there, and then on the other side, and this is looking from the back of the car, and there's my muffler that I like, but it's a real pain in the neck right now. But anyway, and then right there are the other two. So I got to take those two sides out, or those two bolts out, put on these brackets, and then put the bolts back in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But like I said, it's going to be easier to do without holding onto this camera. But those are the brackets, and then we'll do the other side as well. All right, so it definitely took some work, but I did get the brackets on, which are right here. There's the 2 bolts. You have to take those out. There's the bracket that goes up. There's the 2 bolts on top of this bracket. So that's the one bracket, and then these are loose up here, and then there's the other bracket going down, and it's connected, and then here's the ProBeam on top. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and hopefully it's a little bit easier. All right, now here are the other 2 bolts on that side. Hopefully you can hear me. I got the camera kind of far away. So here are the other 2 bolts on that side. You can see right there, and then on the opposite side of that, on the other side of that actually, is the other 2 bolts. So I'm going to take those off, and that's what the other brackets connect onto, which eventually get connected up to the ProBeam. So I'm going to go ahead and add those brackets and go from there. Okay, that bracket's on. I just have to take and connect the bolts up to the top on the ProBeam. Alright, so I just got back from a slight break because this was driving me crazy. But anyway, after putting the brackets on that side over there, which you probably can't see, but anyway, after putting those brackets on, I discovered when I tried to put these brackets on the other side that the beam has to go on the inside of the bracket, and I'll show you once I can do a close-up, but the inside of the bracket instead of the outside, because those other holes on this side weren't lining up properly for me to put the bolts in, and that's when I discovered that. So in the meantime, the problem with the muffler, I might have that solved, because if you remember, I had to drop the muffler to be able to put the bolt on the top of the ProBeam where I drilled the hole. But then once this muffler is down like this, then it's a real pain in the neck to get to these side brackets, just because there's just nowhere to put myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the muffler back up. Now that hole's already drilled and that nut is on there, I'm going to put the muffler back up and just kind of hold it up with one hanger, so I don't have to do it. Put it all the way up with all 4 of them. But anyway, and then I'm going to work on the brackets, get those set up, because then I should be able to lie underneath of there and have plenty of room. And then drill the holes that have to be drilled on the other 2 sides, and then drop the muffler back down again. Put the nuts on, and then put the muffler back up. So that is the new game plan, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this muffler up, fix that bracket on the one side, work on the other side, and then continue. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. The ProBeam has to, I believe, has to go on the outside of the bracket, and I have it on the inside. I think that's part of the problem, maybe, because this is not lining up over here, because it won't move. I can't get it to move out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect all of these again, start over, and go from there. But this is much easier to do now that this muffler is back and hanging out of the way. So let me go ahead and redo these brackets and get everything down. Okay, as you can see, okay, I got all the brackets on, and it's attached to the ProBeam right here. I got the 2 bolts up there, the 2 bolts there, and then these are the 4 bolts that was already attached to this little bracket in the middle here. So these 4, even though everything's nice and loose, is all done. I'm going to tighten it up soon, but as you can see, right up here is another. There it is. There's another hole, and that's where we have to drill into the cross member there, and then also on the other side. So let me go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, get the brackets on there, make sure that's all fit, and then probably tighten these down, start drilling the holes, and then I'll have to pull the muffler back down again. Alright, so I have these brackets attached. Hold on, there we go. I have these brackets attached, and I see another little problem I'm running into. There's the hole I have to drill into. Wait, my hand's shaking. Hold on a second. Okay, there's the hole I have to drill into. Unfortunately, this bracket is in the way. After I didn't bolt them all the way down. I already put them on there. Can't get to that bolt with this in the way, and they actually recommend you taking this entire thing back off again once you mark where the holes are going to be. But it's such a pain in the neck. I think what I'm going to do is just take this off, like undo these bolts, take this off to get rid of this thing, drill my hole, and just slide this back in while everything is still up there. And I'm going to have to do the same thing with the other side as well. It's not what the directions say, but you know, just this muffler is a real pain in the butt being in the way. That's all I gotta say. So anyway, let me go ahead and remove this piece, and then I can start drilling that hole. Okay, that piece is off of there. My hand keeps getting in the way of the light. There we go. That piece is off of there. You know, these kind of hanging here, and then there's the hole I gotta drill into. So let me give that a shot. First thing I'm gonna do is try to punch a mark into here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm not sure. With this little punch thing. Oh, this light is killing me. Okay, well, that drilling wasn't quite working, so I'm actually going to take this ProBeam off, and I think I can at least leave these brackets on. But I'm going to take the ProBeam off. I've already marked, you know, obviously that hole which I was drilling. I marked the other hole where I'm going to drill, and get started again. So I'm going to have to probably drop the muffler just to get this I-beam, or this ProBeam, back off of there, and then put it back up to get the holes drilled. Alright, so I actually got kind of lucky. I was able to leave the muffler up here and just kind of, I took the center bolt out of the ProBeam, and I just kind of like, it's kind of hard to tell, but I just kind of dropped it down a little bit to get out of the way. So I was able to drill this passenger side hole so far, and there actually is a bunch of insulation or something in there, so make sure you wear safety goggles. You're going to get all that stuff in your eyes. So I got that one drilled, and now I'm going to go ahead and to get my light, go ahead and drill the one that I got marked over there. So I'll drill that one, and then go ahead and put the brackets and everything back on again. Lower the muffler, put the nuts on the top of the ProBeam, and hopefully it'll be very, very close, if not completely done. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole next. Alright, second hole is drilled, and that part was actually easier than I thought. Like I said, you just got all that foamy stuff coming down. So let me go ahead, and the brackets are still attached right here to the beams. Actually, that's going to be fairly easy, but I'm going to get those hooked up, and then like I said, I'll have to drop the muffler again. Okay, so I got the brackets on, but they're loose, and I got the first center bolt screwed in, and I had to take the muffler down for that just to get to it. And now I'm going to be working on this bolt here on that side, and then there's another bolt on the other side that I'm going to go ahead and screw in. And like I said, you got to move the muffler out of the way so you can get to the top up here to be able to hold on to the nut that you're screwing into. So let me go ahead and see if I can reach over and get this. So the ProBeam is now attached to the cross member. Got all those screwed down. I put the muffler back up on its hanger. So now all I need to do is go and tighten these side brackets, the screws or bolts, whatever you want to call them, on the side brackets, and we should be done. All right, everything is all tightened up. Got all of the bolts tight. Then the bolts connected to the cross beam member is tight, and this install is done. So I'm curious to see how well it works. Everyone says how great it works when you're out on the road and how it stiffens everything up as far as the suspension. So I do have a autocross coming up, and I'll try to tell you what happens with that. But in the meantime, just driving around, it should be kind of cool anyway. So that's it. There's the install. All right, the ProBeam is installed, and it actually took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. Directions say it should take about an hour. If I had to do it again, it probably would take an hour. Plus, I was trying to film things, and that takes a little bit longer. And it was about 95 degrees and very humid, which is not a very comfortable condition to work in. But hey, we got it done. One of the things you're definitely going to have to contend with, and this isn't in the directions, is dealing with the muffler. You have to, take the muffler down, or, if you have a muffler. I know some of you guys do a muffler delete, you don't have a muffler. But if you do have a muffler, just realize you're going to have to, drop the muffler down just to be able to get to that top of that cross member to put the nuts on the ProBeam. So you might have to, drop it and put it back up a couple times based on, having to drill the holes and things. So just be aware of that. That was probably the most difficult, or actually, I shouldn't even say difficult. It was the most pain in the butt thing to deal with. It was just constantly lowering it and putting it back on the hangers. It was a bit of a pain in the butt, but other than that, it's not too difficult of an install. It's basically, putting some bolts and nuts together and on the bracket. So that's it for this video, and if you liked it, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell underneath the subscribe. That'll be that'll notify you that any new videos that I come out with, and also hit that like button. I like to get a lot of likes in there as well. So until the next time, this video is over.